Welcome back to Basic Trading. Today we have an update on our WEBULL Tiny Account Challenge. Today we ended the day with a $3.31 gain, which doesn't sound like much, but that's a 1.69% growth on the account balance of that morning, which means this week we are now up 3.48%. That's getting us very close to our 7% goal. We just got to keep chipping away at it. So today I made one trade on one stock. That stock was IBIO. iBio. That's a stock that I actually traded back in high school when the stock market first piqued my interest. Anyway, first of all, before we talk about the trade, I want to go over the market today. Today, there were some big runners. There were some stocks that were doubling, not quite tripling, but were getting halted over and over and over on the upside, and I was really tempted to jump in on one of those halts. But ultimately, I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, because trading into a halt is usually pretty risky. If it halts to the upside, you have a pretty good chance of it continuing upward, and if it halts to the downside, it's probably going to open lower. But that just wasn't something I was willing to put my money in, because it was doing like $3-4 moves in 30 seconds, and that has the chance to grow your account by a lot, but it also has the chance to tank your account. And with a tiny account, you cannot risk that amount. So I didn't. But what I did see was the very beginning of a squeeze on iBio. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Right here is where it got my attention. I could see it starting to curl up, and here I decided I was going to check for the high of the pre-market. That is usually a pretty good indicator of where it could reverse if it decided to turn around and start going back the other way. Right here is where I pulled the trigger. I decided to buy in with a relatively small position size of 30 shares at $2.40 each. And what you'll see is I ended up adding on to that position as it started running up. That's what I think I need to do a little more of, is start off small, let it prove itself, and then add on. I'm not going to get the perfect entry that way, but I'm never going to get the perfect entry. I think this is a safer way to enter a trade, especially when you don't have years and years of experience. I've realistically got 2, maybe 3 months of experience doing this. So until I can prove that I know what's going on and I know when the market is going to be good, I think I need to start buying in small, let it prove itself, and then go in all the way. Unless it's like a guaranteed win, which there rarely are cases like that. But anyway, this is what ended up happening. So I decided to add on an additional 39 shares. And at this point, I was up $1.30. And in my previous video, I talked about how I'm trying to change my psychology, where I'm trying to hold on to my winners a little bit longer and let my losers die faster. So that's what I was practicing here. I was up, then I was down, I'd get scared, but ultimately, this is what happened. Here, I did something smart. Once again, just like yesterday, I sold half of my shares for a profit, because at the end of the day, I've got to stay green. I got to pay myself. So that's what I did. I paid myself, and then I was willing to let the rest run, because at this point, now I can sustain a bigger loss without going red. So that's what happened. Right here is where I sold all of my shares for a profit, but if I'm being honest, this was a fear sell. This wasn't a sell because I thought it was about to turn around and go negative. This was a sell because I was worried about going red for the day. I still believed that it was going to go up, and as a matter of fact, it did go up. It went up all the way to, I believe it was $3.50. So that would have been a substantial winner. That could have nearly doubled my account in a single day. But because I sold when I did, it didn't happen. That is a dangerous line of thinking, because that can lead to FOMO even into the next day. So I'm working on not thinking that way. But it is a lesson that sometimes you just need to let it run. Today's green. This week is green. This month is green. Let's keep it green. Heads up, tomorrow there's a very good chance I will be in Germany. So if that is the case, I will let you know, but there's a good chance I won't be uploading for a while. Like and subscribe.